most of us are moving towards short form content. You know, you have reels, then you have in shorts, which actually revolutionized.
It gave me that super belief that okay, I can learn anything. It was my first time at a film set, and I fell in love with that space.
We share a very amazing relationship. In fact, I think first as a friend, and then we published a book with you on angel investing, and then from you participating at our 21 by 72 Surat Startup Summit, and then now eventually we investing into Zebra, and I think it's quite been a journey. So I think, what would you say? What is the role of such massive events like 21 by 72 in your journey?
The larger benefit is Shark Tank would have not happened if it did not happen. I am very happy to write a very bold if it's driving. I think one should definitely look at tech angle irrespective of their business. My favorite memory from Shark Tank is when I was giving book to Aman.
You know how they say books are boring, but today's guest has redefined the way we consume content through books. In fact, they even managed to get funding from Shark Tank. We have Anurag, the founder of Zebra Learn, today with us. Welcome, Anurag, to the podcast.
Wow, I'm so excited today to be here and to talk to you. We've known each other for so long, and in this discussion today, I'm looking forward to it. Hi everyone, wonderful meeting all of you, and super pumped for today's discussion.
In fact, I've known Anurag for 5 years now, and in fact, knowing you back then, in fact, I think the first time we met was during the pandemic when you were building something around financial literacy platform.
Sure.
And to building a new age book distribution platform. In fact, I'll jump onto that. Would love to hear what exactly about Zebra Learn is about, and what have you built so far?
Sure. So far what we've done, first things first, what Zebra Learn is. At Zebra Learn, in a very plain vanilla language, we are a company that deals in books. We make all our books. Let me divide it into two parts. First, at Zebra Learn, we make books that have three things to it. The content is very actionable. It's only business books or largely business books. Now we have also done maths books. In that, content is very actionable. Second, it's very visual. That's where we stand out. All the books that we do, all the things that we explain, it's very visual, and that is why readers get less tired. They enjoy reading more as compared to a black and white book. And third, we add a layer of what we call value adds. So value adds will mean something like a QR code where author is interviewing, or there is a book that has 60-70 podcasts with it, or there is a book that has set of playing cards with it, puzzles with it, so on and so forth, so that the content stays outside the book as well with the reader. So this is what we do essentially with our books. Now doing this, what we have done at Zebra Learn, we don't go and sell it to distributors. We work in a way which is very much like a D2C brand. We'll reach our customers directly. We'll reach our customers on Amazon but through our accounts. So that way we are much closer to our readers as compared to other publishers, because we are just doing all the consumption or purchase or reading is happening on our website, our platform, our Amazon account, so on and so forth. And yeah, I think that is what we have done differently. One, in terms of the books, and second, in terms of how we see the business, which is right from making the book to owning the exclusive license or the IP to selling it out in a very D2C format, and that integration of entire thing, that is what we do at Zebra Learn. And I think I've taken a longer liberty, but yeah, that is what we do.
But today we have the largest publishing houses like Penguins of the world, and then you have the largest distributors of books like Crosswords of the world.
Absolutely.
How do you really compete with them, or how do you what was the idea, when you thought of entering into this industry, which is traditionally controlled or dominated by the largest of players with huge capital? How did you actually think of putting Zebra into?
Sure. Obviously, one is how do we identify ourselves? There are two things that you said. One is those who make books, the publishers, Penguin, and there are many more, HarperCollins, and then the Indian brands. And then there are sellers who are the holders of distribution, if you put it that way. Crossword, Amazon, Flipkart, these are the large ones obviously. And then there are multiple smaller ones, bookstores, and accumulation of that through distributors. So there are these two frameworks. One is making books and other is selling books. And they have to come together for a consumer to read book. We, on the other hand, believe in a very integrated business model where we are the ones talking to authors right before the author even writes their first word. And from there, getting involved in the content, holding the IP on our platform, and then the distributor or the users also, or the readers also coming on our platform, as I said. So these two things put together is what we are trying to do, and what allows us to stand out in this market. Now, second question that you mentioned was about the competition and all the big guys. Obviously, Publishing is called the big guys game, I think Anupam Mittal used this phrase in one of the other book publishers that went on Shark Tank. So there I think, see, if we play the same game or if we play the same sport as they are playing, we'll definitely lose. We are probably 1 by 10,000th of them in terms of size and all those things. But what will be more relevant, what I feel for us, is that we are doing the same thing. Ultimately, the core product remains books, but we are doing it in a very different manner. We are reaching out to the customers in a way where no other publisher is doing it. No other publisher or very few publishers are trying to build their business on their platform. They are exclusively selling via their distributors, either through bookstores or the trade channels or Amazon, again via distributors, not themselves. So that ability to, or that wanting to hold content and distribution together on in one business, that no one is doing, and that I feel is a space where as a business model it makes a lot of sense for us, because in other forms of content, music and long form videos, short form videos, these things have worked. So there is no reason why it should not work on books, and that is what we believed in and how we exist.
I think we've seen your ads across Instagram, and I think that could be your key strategy to distribution, right?
So,
I think
correct. So in terms of discovery, I think our largest discovery does come from Instagram ads, and as for any D2C brand, I think for us, we've just been very much there. We generate about 40 million impressions between Amazon and Flipkart, Amazon and our website, and not our website, but the Facebook ads and Instagram ads. These two put together on a monthly basis, we do about 40 million impressions, and I think that is large part of the discovery that happens for us. And yeah, within that, a part of that audience does come to us.
And how many users would you have at the moment on your platform?
We have about 1.5 lakh users on our platform. Now these people all of them have at least bought something from us. So it's a very gated thing right now. And now we are offering books that one can try with, that are shorter books and all those things. But all of these people have bought something with us.
Okay, and typically what would be the hottest topics, for you guys? What are the trending topics that you guys are actually publishing books on?
So there are two things that you mentioned there. You mentioned about hottest topics and trending topics. So when it comes to the hottest topics, see, we are very, very system driven, numbers driven in terms of the books that we want to do. One, there is a bias for finance, because when we started, I come from finance, Radhika comes from finance. So there was a big bias towards finance, because that is a space where we also had an opinion on the quality of content that's coming in very directly. So that was our first about 15 odd books, or more than that in fact. Now going forward, we are diversifying into more of business books. So finance being one large category, second being marketing, third being now HR is a good category for us, and then tech books or tech related books. These are four things that we find should be a large part of what we do in next 1 year. Our tech can include AI and all those things. We are our understanding in terms of which topic to do is very, very theoretical. We go by search volumes. We go by how other books are doing on platform. Books is not a place where people compete. If you like two books, it's likely that you might end up reading both of them rather than one of them. So that is one thing that we look at. Second thing also, so success of other books is, or other products in similar field that we are trying to get into is a good sign for us. So that is what we do in terms of the selection of books. And now second part that you mentioned was about trending topics. So see, book making is a slow process. It takes about 3 to 6 months to make a book and get it out in the market, and we do not try to push it up or speed it up unnecessarily to save a month here and there. So a bad thing about that is obviously it takes time. A good thing about that is it allows, or it helps us resist a lot of this topic. We have to be really serious about the topics that we are doing. And so there we typically avoid a lot of trending. For example, we have not done a lot of books on AI. In fact, we only have done one, and we feel that's going to be a really deep book, because AI is something that's really trending. Also, there is not enough literature that has shelf life. By the time you finish writing a book and get it to market, probably it has evolved, or else it's too technical, because those things don't change. So that is our general perception about how we approach topics. And also a third thing that I would like to add there is, with us, we don't necessarily optimize on author. we don't fall in love with our authors in this sense from the selection of the book perspective. Obviously, after that we do, but just because someone will have a lot of visibility, lot of followers and those things, it's not necessarily that we'll try to make a book happen with them.
Right.
It's always a bonus, that distribution that comes with them and visibility. What we do over there is the topic is what we feel has to be absolutely intact. Otherwise, it will sell a few copies first 2-3 months, but after that it will not do well because the book is not designed for success. We think the author, the topic of the book and the index of the book, these three things put together is about 60-70% a success of the book, at least the way we approach the business.
So I think you would say the quality of content should be much higher than the quality of author. Like in that
I
sense,
think those two are same because if the quality of author
like in
is
terms
not,
of the reach or in terms of their own distribution.
see, if you start optimizing on distribution on authors, what will happen is your maybe next 6 months my revenue will go up, but over the next 5 years that might dilute the quality of content that's going on the platform.
Right.
So the right metric that we feel that one should optimize on is the quality of content that's going on the platform more than anything else, because that's ultimately what you're trying to build over next 5 years. Combine that with a good distribution and all those things that you are building for yourself. So here, what we feel is the author, the quality of the author, that has to be reflected in the index that they are making.
Right.
Because if an author is good, typically I have not seen, we receive in the last year, I think we have received, it's very much similar to what an investing business is in a very small manner. We receive author applications with an index. We go through it, we form an opinion on the author, we form an opinion on the title, and title is again market size, and we form an opinion on the index that they have shared. And if the index is shallow, trust me, 10 out of 10 times the book will be shallow, because that is the author's or the prospective author's nature of content that they want to publish or give on the platform. So a lot of it gets reflected, and by extension, our process about index is very long. We really grill the author, that's the wrong word to use, but we really push the author to put a lot of effort on the index. And that's a good filtering criteria for us.
Right. I think you've worked with some of the leading content creators as brought them on board as authors. If you can mention few names you've worked with and what's their relationship with like.
Sure. So we've worked with I think amongst the creators. So we've worked with Anushka Rathod. She has about 1 million followers in finance, and she's written a very good book called The Money Guide. I think here's a copy of it. Then we have written a book on HR. That's by Mr. Harjeet Khanduja. I'm so sorry. So Harjeet sir, I am absolutely anything HR. I go to him and take help. More than an author relation, it's a relation of I just want to learn as much as possible from him. His main audience is on LinkedIn. Then we have Mr. Shivam Palan. He has I think about 2 lakh people on LinkedIn. But again, when you're working with these people, you have not really filtered them on the distribution size that they had. The content and the process that they did was absolutely brilliant. Harjeet sir, in fact, had written a book. He's written multiple books before us as well. Ours is a very technical book on HR. He's absolutely, I think, one of the best people to talk about leadership more outside HR. And I personally, one of my favorite books, the one that he'd written before this. So what we have realized is there are certain patterns that we observed in our authors. One is they have to be active. I mean, ideally they should not be retired. Right. We don't want to work with people who have retired 10 years back, because generally the content then comes a little dated. Second thing we have seen is they should work with, they should have had the exact thing that they're trying to write about for about 10 to 15 years. 12 years is what we use internally, but we try to push ourselves higher. So 12 to 15 years, at least that much directly doing the topic that they are writing about. So if let's say you are writing a book on how to invest in, for example, for Harjeet sir, if he's writing a book on HR, he's actually lived that function for the last 15 odd years. So the amount of content, or more than the amount, the quality of content is absolutely top notch. Right. And third thing is then again the process. So there should be a good enough market on that topic, and then the index and all those things. So that is generally our experience, and put together our authors. They for me personally, it's a very enriching experience. I love about this part about my job too. Otherwise, I would not have had access to these kind of people.
So typically how many author applications would you receive, or how many authors would you reach out to?
As you said rightly, we reach out to some people that we profile that okay, they are the ones that we should write with, and there is a set of readers, the authors who come who come to us, and then obviously there is a subset who also come for fiction books. We don't do fiction books, so that is absolutely discouraged.
Everything, all the books that you publish are majorly outcome driven or skill driven, or like a business domain.
Correct. So first question that we ask author, we have a form. So first question that we ask is, what will change for the reader after reading the book? I think if we don't find a solid answer to that, even if there exists one, the author should actively address that, and then you point your, that becomes your North Star, and you reverse engineer from there. So that is typically, otherwise we'll not be able to justify the price point that we are doing. Our books
and
are
what would
relatively,
be your typically price point of a book, like an average pricing?
Correct. So our books are about 1,500 rupees the hard copy, and about 990 the soft copy. Typically in the market, you will find books, the business books, the category that we are in, anywhere ranging about between 500, 600, that's where it starts, to less than 1,000 rupees. That's the sweet spot. Obviously, there are specialized books that are much higher on us. Why we are trying to do that, the kind of books that we do, they are really expensive to make. And I want to attract the best authors to write their absolute best. So what happens is these people, the authors are well incentivized, not just from the financial angle, but they are well incentivized from the support that we are able to give them in terms of team and all those things to create that quality of content. That is A. Second, we are looking for commitment from readers. So what I mean when I say that is, how often has it happened that you've bought a book and kept it on your shelf? With our books, that does not happen. If you're not serious about learning this topic, I would much rather have you not buy something from us. Why? Because that commitment that's there, that pushes the finishing rate for the books. And after that, that is the second angle. And third angle that we internally say is, our books are not books, they're courses. So at 1,500 rupees, our courses are very economical, because I honestly believe that if you spend 4,000-5,000 rupees with us on a set of books which are dedicated to a problem, not random books, let's say not a master commercial real estate and let's say HR book together, but HR books put together, or commercial estate or real estate books put together. I think in those 4,000-5,000 rupees, I know for a fact that the authors that we have and the outcome, that the process that is there, they'll really have an impact on your life, or not your life, your career, in a very tangible manner. I think
so. I think you mentioned you have close to over a lakh, readers on your platform. So where would you classify them? What age groups are they from, and where are they? Which geographies are they from? Like who's the right target audience for you?
So for in terms of target audience, one is in terms of so there are multiple parts that I'll take to it. Very simply, someone who's trying to solve a problem for themselves. That's a large audience, and these people are typically starting at age 21, 22, not the typical 16, 17, 18, 19, even not first year of college, maybe third, fourth year of college, where they're trying to solve for a job application or a skill that will help them get hired. So that is where it starts, and a large part of audiences till the age 35. After the age 35, obviously there are audiences and there are readers, but they are the hunger is much higher at the lower age gap, and the impact is also much higher, and also they are closer to their learning habits. People at 35, many of them have not learned something for the last 5 years, 7 years. So those are few things that we have observed. In terms of cities, as we mentioned, to our surprise, only 35% of our business comes from top 8 cities in the country. We thought about 70-75% business should come from these cities, and it absolutely drives me. Stories about people buying in smaller cities and trying to drive that is one of the I got a story where I spoke to that reader. Actually, they saved for our book for about 3 months, 4 months, and got a book in a very small town, probably somewhere in UP. I forgot the name of the town. I feel, and I asked them, why did you buy it? The question is not the fact that they bought it, but why did you buy it? The problem was, they said, I'm trying to get 5-6 people to come to my city or that town and work with me. And that is why I read a book on HR. Now the success of that, but the role that the fact that they are putting in that effort to probably get the basics right and work on things like at that scale, like 2 people team, work on things like employability, the employer brand, not really the brand perspective, but how good are they as an employer. So those things, I felt those stories are really, as I said, people trying to solve something for themselves. And that is where I think books has a large role to play, and still I find it very relevant because I go to books whenever there is a business problem to be solved.
So your target audience essentially would be over the age of 21.
21, 22 to about 35. There are exceptions on both sides of it, but largely this, and also in that people who are serious about something, that seriousness, that motivation factor. If you filter our readers on motivation, I think they'll do better than average. They are more motivated than an average, I would say, learner.
And would you say what kind of competitors do you think you have in your space? Because one hand you say you have the whole K-12 segment, right? Sure. Kindergarten to 12th grade books, and then there is a outcome-driven, business books. Sure. So do you have any players, or is it a very consolidated space?
It's not a consolidated space for sure. We have so in terms of whom do we consider competition? See, there are multiple kinds of people who do books. One is obviously the publishers for whom it's their mainstay business, and they work with all kinds of people, and they get a book together and put it on different platforms and distribution and whatnot. So obviously these people are competition. Number 2, we also feel educational courses are also competition in that sense. We don't necessarily find YouTube and Instagram and podcasts and all these things to be a competing source of competing in terms of learning outcomes. We do in terms of attention for sure. They're competing for your time as let's say you can use that time for Zebra Learn as you can use for Instagram.
Right.
Outside that, see, one good thing that I find about almost all learning products is, or learning, at least things like books and courses, there is no binary outcomes. Meaning, it's not going to happen that if there are 2 good books on same topic, that you'll read book A or book B. The order might change. Right. You might read book A or large majority might read book A first and then book B, which will lead to higher sales or a slightly skewed sales towards book A. But people typically end up buying both of it. And that is a big thing where we do not try to compete. We try to form products that are, we don't want to do multiple books in the same category. We want to do, and we can do that till the time our portfolio is small for sure. Maybe at some point we have to go in more deeper topics. So coming back, we want to do books that are category defining, do really high quality work with really high quality authors, and it is on the higher end in terms of the premiumness, but also we want to justify that with the outcomes that we can deliver for it. I think if you compare it with the outcomes, we will for sure be a steal in most parts of the most book topics that we do.
Right, interesting. And how many books have you guys already published so far?
We've published about 35 books, out of which a large part has only come in the last 6 months. So I think 6 months back, we were about 16 books actively. Now we are at about 35 books. We are working on another 35-40 books. We don't want to build our portfolio to that ability to publish 1,000 books, 2,000 books. We want to do 100 books a year in 2 years, and we want to consistently do very high quality work. And that I think we will to do more of depth than width in terms of titles.
And how many copies do you think a good book sells out?
So that's really dependent on the size of the topic. For example, something like how to run Facebook ads. I know for a fact that a book can sell 1 million copies on that topic. But something around, let's say, commercial real estate, a book around that will not sell 1 million copies because the market is limited and the use case is limited. So it really depends on that. For us, we have done, I think 45,000 copies for a book on trading. That's the very beginner-friendly book on trading. And that was also our first book in that sense. And the lower end, we have done about 4,000 copies for a book. So that's been our range so far. I know for a fact we'll break out on both sides. We'll do worse than our worst and best than our better than our best. So that's how I see it.
Interesting. So I think, Anurag, most of us are moving towards short form content. You know, you have reels, then you have in shorts, which actually revolutionized the way we are consuming news. And now we have Zebra Learn, who's revolutionizing how we consume books. How do you think in this era or in this evolution, how will books stay relevant? Will it, because obviously, a lot of people have stopped reading books. They are more focused on video content, learning through digital courses. But do you think what role will books play in our lives, and how relevant will it stay in the next 5 years or so?
I think you've asked, or how I see this is into two parts. One is in the rise of content, as you said, short form content and videos. Where does books find itself? And second is obviously what role does book play and the utility of books and around that. So you're very right. I think there have been other forms of content, short form content, and if anything, we are as far away from it as possible because if anything, our books are also long. Our books are intense in terms of content depth and also long. They're 350, 400 pages. So so what we see there is content as a whole has gone up tremendously. So what I mean when I say that is, let's say if you were consuming half an hour of content, let's say 10 years back, and maybe you were reading books for 20 minutes. Let's say that was in 2010. Now what you're doing is you are consuming, instead of that half an hour content, you're consuming 4 hours of content on a daily basis. And you're still reading books for 20 minutes or 25 minutes. So what we feel or what we have seen by data is that content consumption as a whole has really shot up. And that is absolutely no two ways about that.
Right.
With all the YouTube, Instagram, Reels and all those things. But if you look at in absoluteness, the percentage in pie, and we see books as a form of content as well, learning content, the percentage in pie has shrunk significantly. If let's say earlier it was 20%, right now it would be in low single digits. But in absolute amount, it's still the same.
Right.
So what we feel is that other forms of content have really shot up. Books in itself has held ground. That is what we feel. Or obviously I have a bias for it because
of course.
I have a publishing business. So that is about one. Second, in terms of...
So you think it will coexist forever? Like even if there
forever, yes. I feel obviously the medium can change. The book can, as with Kindle, it went on a screen.
Right.
Then it went on something else, and then with advent of print on demand, I feel things like and AI. I think things will happen where you have a book for yourself and I have a book for myself. The same thing is being the same thing, but two different people have two different experiences based on our understanding, and it's customized to our needs. I think those things will happen or might happen. But I also feel the second part to answer the question and the utility of books. We follow a book called Theory of Instructions, and it's a book on how do you make an instruction effective. Also, we did an internal research on all the different ways that one has on learning. So we identified about 37 of them, where books is one part. There are pre-recorded courses, live courses, colleges, podcast is also one of them, so on and so forth. 37 of them is what we identified. I'd love to share it on one of our pages. I'll do that in fact. So what we saw there, good education has 9 parts to it. One, it starts with retrieval. You know something, you retrieve. The instructor has to start with something that you already know. Second is expectation, what will you learn? Third is again setting up the premise and talking and building. Fourth is the fourth part to it is the new information. We take new information that we see as absolute, but and it's a little technical because that's what. But I'll just take that liberty to consume maybe 2 minutes. To explain this, because this is one of the very critical things, because why do we even sell books that we sell right now also by that logic.
Right.
So we see that that new information stimulus, that is part 4. Fifth is you spending time reinforcing that new information stimulus, and then there are more. Last part remains that your ability to transfer knowledge. So a good education is only that which can be transferred to someone else by the learner. So now what happens is, out of those 37 channels, 37 mediums that we identified, not all of them can tick mark on all the 9 steps for good education. Courses can, in-class education can, books can, what can't a podcast can't? What can't this short form video can't? We use the word semantic encoding. That's the technical word that goes. Basically, a new information has to settle in with the established structures in your brain. So if there is a new information about something that you know of very well, for example, let's say you are in the business of investing for last 5 years, even a small piece of information will find relevance in your mind because the structures are there. But let me tell you a new information about something related to biology or doctors, something around that, which is new to you. That information will struggle to find a place in your mind.
Right.
So the first thing there was a semantic encoding in your brain, versus the second thing, it was not there. So a book is a place, a book is the only, one of the few mediums. A book, a course, a life course, a training course, all these we call the original sources of learning, because these are the only channels that are effective to make that structure in your mind where new information can come and sit. So that is where, even when you're trying to learn something new, books or these 4-5 things and that is why I'm very bullish on courses still there. Courses will be there, in-person courses. Obviously AI will personalize it and those things will happen. The dependence on teacher will go down, as it happened with just softwares, not even AI, but simple SaaS products in the space of education. So that is my understanding of books, that those 5-6 methods of that help you build those structures, that are not going anywhere.
Right.
And that is my commitment towards, and that is what gives me the conviction to stay stuck to the books and keep building it, because that is where I feel it will stand the test of time, as it has for multiple ages.
Right.
Press happened, all those things happened, screens happened.
Books have
always stood the, and it was one of the earlier forms of education as well.
Right.
First form of education, schools came later, books came earlier. Books, not really books, but manuscripts. With that time, mass production was not there. So that is my understanding of books as a space, and that is why we feel books will still be relevant for at least few more decades. And after that, let's see what new technology comes up.
I think most of us should get back to reading now.
I feel we do that also. For topics that are new to us or alien to us, it will either be a book or a course. If you're serious about it, what are your choices? Like, what really are your choices? If I tell you, personally, I wanted to learn software, for example, because Zebra Learn has a large part on software. I come from finance. What were my options to learn software? I could either go to a class, which I did. Right. I did a 3-month course. I could not start with a podcast. I could not start with a reels, even no matter how many tech pages I follow. I had to attend the class. I read a lot of books. I did a lot of courses from Udemy. I think those things will stay, and then you have to stack it. Like, learn one part and then second part from second book, third part from third book, and then a course, and then a mentor. A mentor will also be able to help you only after you have the base ready. Right. A mentor will not tell you, okay, A for apple, B for ball. That is your job to kind of learn. And that is why we believe books will stand the test of time for at least foreseeable future. Obviously, attention span and that ability to sit quiet without noise, that has gone down, and that causes mental friction every time you open a book. So that, I feel, is a challenge. I'm reading a book, the number of notifications I'm getting, even year-on-year basis, is increasing. So last year, if I got 8 notifications per hour, this year I'm getting maybe 9 or maybe 10. So that, to resist that, the reading experience has become more tiring. But again, those who are serious I feel have no real choice outside these. I took a really long answer.
That's quite an insight.
But yeah, that's our experience.
Nice. And we've seen AI coming into, every business has been trying to make the utility of AI. What do you think, where do you think AI will take your business towards?
See, AI in books is a catalyst and a challenge. I'll tell you both sides to it. AI is a catalyst because as it is getting in every function, every SOP, everywhere with the increasing capabilities, I think it will get in ours also. For example, editing. I don't think that we need a person to check for language or spelling right now. Not really language. Spelling is something that AI should do it.
Right.
And that is absolutely a 5-minute process now versus, let's say, going back and someone manually reading and then also mistakes coming in. Spellings, grammar, all those things should not be humans now. The concept and the flow, those things, the instructional design, that can be humans, but the commoditized things should not be humans. In that sense, it has helped us reduce our publishing time. What it should not, also on that side, because it allows us convenience, we should, or no platform should at any point become a dump of AI-based content, which happened with Kindle.
Right.
Lot of AI-based content and that being reshaped, and people made some money for some while, and I'm sure some of them will still make money. But after a point, the platform dies, and that is something that we will protect against, we will guard against. We know that for us. We'll use AI to help maybe speed up time, the tone, all those things. Now the second part to it is in terms of cons. I honestly don't think of a lot of cons around that. AI, if anything, is also promoting you to read.
Right.
Maybe it allows us things like converting our books to audiobooks. Or we did convert a book of ours to audiobooks, and we will convert the others also. And all of that is done via AI. So if anything, it is helping us. I honestly don't feel a lot of cons against it. Only thing that can happen is instead of reading from us, people are reading from AI, which is also fine.
But you still need a human putting in rich content, putting in his own experience. I think
that will not happen with machine. Ultimately, all these LLMs they're not generating new experiences. They are they're very good at putting together everything that exists.
Right.
But they're not good at generating new ideas, maybe not ideas, but they're not good at generating new experiences.
Right.
What happened, let's say with me, when I was trying to run a ad, or when I was trying to design an ad on this topic, that experience is with me. Now, how do you take that experience, use AI to productize that experience? That is something that we as a platform, or many others much bigger, will be relevant in kind of taking it to the audiences, and many will also.
Interesting. I think we've learned enough about what Zebralearn does, how Zebralearn stands out. Would really love to know about your journey now, Anurag. I think it's a very difficult journey as an entrepreneur to start, especially into in an industry where there are large players. So can you tell us about your challenges and how did everything shape along?
Sure. So I'll take up first the journey. Very simply, by education, I completed my class 12th DPS and one of the good students in school. After that, I went to a place called Finacle Investment Academy, where for about 1.5 years, we were just reading. And that is when I first interacted with the world of reading. I became familiar with the world of reading. I used to read research reports, annual reports, and books. Just these three, about 8 to 10 hours a day, and 2-3 hours of class, and that's it for 1.5 years. That's where I really realized or fell in love with the process of reading. For me, what it did was, it gave me that super belief that, okay, I can learn anything. That belief is extremely, I feel, empowering, because now you're not limited by what you know.
Right.
You fall in love with something tomorrow morning and you can learn that. And that belief happened in that phase. And after that, I went on, and I'll come back to it, connecting back. After that, I worked with a mutual fund, PMS, for about 2 years. And then we started Zebralearn. Zebralearn also started because there was a research project that I was actually starting to build a software for research analysts, trying to automate a lot of mundane tasks that they did. And within that, Zebralearn was one small part of it. We were trying to do courses. Within that, I did my research work, which I tried to share as book, which did not do well. And that is where I realized, okay, publishing is not really on spot. So we started experimenting with few more books, trying to sell them, and those started doing well. So we shelved the software part, we took up the books part, and 2022 is when we only started doing books. In the background, I got to learn a lot about software development. I spent about 8-9 months doing courses, Udemy, and again, going back to the belief, whatever is needed, I can learn it. So I learned a lot on software, and about another 6 to 7 months on marketing. I think this amalgamation of finance, marketing, and software, not that I'm the best talent on this, but I feel I'm extremely well equipped when it comes to knowledge of all three. I understand enough of all three to get something done. That is what we reflect in Zebralearn, that ability to learn something new. So that is what happened, and then we started doing more of books. We did 4 books, then 8 books. Now we are doing 30 books, 40 books. So I think that is what the large journey has been. In terms of challenges, I think.
And I'm sure a lot of people must have told you, Anurag, you can't do this, and you know.
Yeah, I think
don't
first
don't
2.5
get into
years.
this.
First 2.5 years, we had nothing to show for it. We started 2000. The company we started actually in January 2020. So immediately after we started, COVID came out. So 2.5 years, meaning 2020 to mid of it, we had nothing to show for what we had done. We are doing about 2 lakh rupees a month. So after 2.5 lakhs, I think your parents also start losing that faith. I think my parents did a phenomenal job having that patience for 2.5 years, because in our surroundings or community that we come from, there is a sense of impatience of children getting settled in their life. So anyways, coming back, that and after that, it really happened. Like we went from 2 lakhs to about what, 1 crore rupees in about 9-10 months. So that really, all that effort really happened together. So yeah, I think.
And now I think the company is valued at probably
about good numbers at Shark Tank, about 63 crore.
Wow.
62.5 is what we raised at.
I think Shark Tank is a dream for every brand out there, right?
Yeah, it is.
And so tell us about your experience with Shark Tank. You know, what was it like for you?
So with Shark Tank, I think we applied last year. See, I've been a follower of Shark Tank US far before it came to India. So I think I've been seeing Shark Tank since 2015, and did I know if I'll be standing on that stage one day? So I think last year we exhibited at Pure event, and that is where Anupam sir was there. He was as a guest, and that is where he kind of the conversations off stage. That is where I understood what really Shark Tank meant, and like the impact on brands that have been there. And also then we applied for it. Immediately after that is when the windows opened, and fortunately we got selected through multiple rounds. There are 4 rounds to it, and all of a sudden we were in front of sharks in about 3 months time, and it was phenomenal experience. I think we were there with them for 5 days, and took me back to it was my first time at a film set, and I fell in love with that space, the whole vibe and everything. A very different angle to business. These are not the things that you typically do, even when you create or try to create content in places like this. So there we had a good session. I think the discussion there went on for a bit. People have opinions on, there was nothing that we had not heard of, and obviously we had pitched multiple times, and we have been criticized of our
How many times have you?
First round that we raised, we did about 60 pitches to raise that, and that was 1 year. I remember my first pitch to an investor to raise capital was on 8th of October 2020, and the first round that we closed was on 13th of December 2021. So that's 1 year and few months.
From the outside, it seems very glamorous that you usually get funding in minutes, and but what really goes behind the screen is multiple endless number of pitches.
Endless. I think at one point we used to have, or at one point 3-4 pitches I was doing for 3-4 pitches. There was a week where I did, I think, about 13-14 pitches in that week itself. And after a point came where we just keep it, just talk to someone who's willing to talk to you, and forget that they'll reply back. And if someone replies back, oh, that is a good activity. So out of 60 pitches, I think we would have heard back from about 5-6 people, and we converted 2 people to kind of trust us. And those 2 people, or at least one set of people, they were absolutely a LinkedIn cold reach out to us. Rachit Chawla is his name. He was the first person. He runs a business called Finway Capital in Delhi. And through his friends by the name of Risers Accelerator, they invested, I think, 40 lakhs. And second was Vineet Rai. He invested about, he introduced us to some group of friends in Raipur. They invested about 50-55 lakhs. So, but to get to that process, and the problem is, or it's not really the problem, but the deals that don't go through, other transactions that don't go through, they don't happen on, like, it's not a binary call that I get on a call and you say no. That is one of those calls. There are so many other calls where, okay, follow-up is there, follow-up 2 is there, and you again and again build hope and kill it. And that is one part of it. One mistake that, again, I would take this liberty to use the stage to tell. For about 4-5 months, we did not really we stopped the business and we were only focused on capital raising, that once we raise capital, we'll build the business. I think that was a big mistake. I think the moment we started focusing, okay, capital will happen on its own. Let's focus on building the product. Let's focus on whatever we can with what we know. And if nothing, we had our time. So we started spending about 70-75% time back on business as compared to all the outside noise. And immediately 2 months later, we raised capital. I think that is one thing, anyone who's trying to build something or is in that phase, I think please focus on business. Capital will happen. Capital should only be 25-30% of your time, not beyond that. Unless you are at a place where survival is a risk. And early stage, typically what I feel in businesses like ours, survival is almost never a threat because you have nothing to protect. What are you protecting?
And now you've got Ritesh Agarwal, the founder of OYO, to invest in your business from Shark Tank.
Yeah.
So what's been your partnership with Ritesh been like now?
So I think it's absolutely an honor to work with someone. I made a project on him in 2016.
Oh, wow.
At that time, OYO was about 4.5-5 years old. And it feels like a big coming through of things together to get him on board and not just meet him, but work with him and build something and getting him to trust what we are building, not just a cold relation that's a very business related relation. I think working with his team has been absolutely wonderful for us. They have helped us on board on Zepto, they have helped us on board on Blinkit, they have helped us, now they're trying to facilitate a discussion with OYO's team, what can be done, what cannot be done. They've not really gotten the time to meet like we and like Ritesh sir has not been, we've not been able to really discuss that the business in that much detail. But I'm sure I'll be able to meet him soon. But working with his team, absolutely, it's a reflection of what perception of I have of him. It's they are so invested in building your business that it's just so powerful for you because okay, there's someone who's backing you and can back. If you do well, he can support you go places. And not just Ritesh, but all the investors have been very kind and helpful to us, and I'm beyond blessed on that side. But they've been real additions or creations of value. But working with Ritesh sir, obviously, it has been a lot of help for us.
Amazing, amazing. So what would you say if anybody today who wants to start a new age tech brand, especially in this industry, what would you say, what are the steps or how should they think?
See, in this space, meaning book space?
Yes.
See, in book space, I think one is obviously don't get distracted. I don't know how many people want to start something in books. I have not met a lot of them. But assuming someone is doing, focus on creating deep content, even if it's less content. I think for shallow content, there are many other channels, there are many other things. Someone who's reading a book is essentially putting in more effort as compared to other channels. A book requires an active form of engagement with the content. Whereas on YouTube, I can just put it up and just be roaming around and still see it. So I think just build very deep content and figure out a way to reach to people. I think that we have done well. Because if you are going through traditional means, that is that market in itself is not large enough to sustain a lot of business. Those who are there are also not doing that great. So if you'll find a way to directly reach out to people, I think there are businesses who have figured out they do just books with influencers. So then in that case, their focus should be deep content. Because influencers know the distribution bit. The content depth has to come from publisher in terms of supporting the creator. I have not met an author who's not willing to write a deep piece of work. It's just what is asked of them in terms of from a commercial angle, and that is what they do. So I think these are two things. I think third thing is use tech, because not a lot of publishers I know of use tech that much, as much there is opportunity, and I think that is not a great sign, and I'm probably talking to myself in hindsight by these things. I think these are a few things. What we have also done is we have not hired anyone from publishing. None of our, except for editors and writers, none of our team members are from publishing. So we don't have anything, this is the way it's done.
Any new rules? I think you guys are creating new rules now for this industry.
Very much running in we've hired people in marketing from D2C. So for I think people who have worked with good brands. I think one of the brands is Dr. Vedya's that I really look up to. Then there was another brand called Fool. So all these people are D2C brands. They are working with us on the marketing side. On the tech side, these people come from a very product perspective. They don't come from an e-commerce perspective. They're trying to bring consumption on their platform, not really be a channel of sales. From the publishing perspective, they are more of project managers, people who have delivered projects with business use cases more than educational use cases. So I think that is what has helped.
So I think at various way, because we in fact we share a very amazing relationship. In fact, I think first as a friend, and then we published a book with you on angel investing, and then from you participating at our 21/72 Surat Startup Summit, and then now eventually we investing into Zebra, and I think it's quite been a journey. So I think what would you say? What is the role of such massive events like 21/72 in your journey?
See, I think if 21/72 did not happen, I'll just go in descending, the ascending order, the lowest impact first. I think it built us visibility in Surat. I think we conduct our business online. Our authors and readers both are online in different cities, but no one knew us in Surat. I think the Surat awareness helped us in hiding people. That is our immediate impact. Second, shorter term. Second thing, I don't know how many places we've used the creatives, and we've really the digital amplification of what we have done at the event. I think that has happened a lot. I think that those are the smaller benefits. The larger benefit is Shark Tank would have not happened if we did not appear on that. If we did not come on the exhibition. I think the people that we met there. I think we closed capital with you. We closed connects with others who we talk to even now. These are investors, these are even some as authors. All the guests that were there, these are exactly the people we try to approach as authors. So these are all business outcomes that I'm talking about, very transactional. Bigger outcomes, I think the credibility and all those things that we get, because businesses like us do need it. We are about into books. We have been into books about 3.5 years now, like only books. So in that sense, we are still very young. So I think that is what we benefit from it. Obviously, outside that, we've made friends. I know a few names. I met Chirag from Social Tag. I call him up anywhere I need help in terms of anything that's influencers and all those things, content, and how should we do this, how should we do that. I remember I met Ayushman there. All these people, their decodes. So,
in fact, I remember a lot of content creators already recognized, we know Zebra, and I think that was quite a testimony.
That was a big tick mark for me personally.
And for us as well.
The ads are going at the right place. So, but this is essentially what those events have done, and the lifetime value of those things are beyond things that you can measure.
True.
And one thing that has led is our friendship.
Yeah, I think we've evolved as a friend as well.
Yeah. So
from let's say a friendship to a partnership now.
So I think that has been generally the experience, and wonderful. I think anyone who's anything in this space should definitely attend it.
Thank you.
Not just attend it,
means
exhibit.
a lot coming from you.
Yeah.
So today we have a lot of aspiring youth who also not just want to become entrepreneurs but also want to become authors. We would have. In fact, I myself, I had like a childhood dream that I wanted to write a book, which you made it possible, right? So I think if today's youth who want to become authors, what would you suggest them? How should they go about?
I'll go by the same pitch that we have for everyone that we talk to. First things first, I think these are some questions that one should ask themselves before anyone else. One is, what impact are you trying, or what outcome are you trying to drive with that book? Because if there is no outcome, you're not doing anything. There has to be an outcome. Reading a book is 8-10 hours of effort, and good effort. Someone is putting that and not getting an impact out of it. That's a faulty start at your end from a promise perspective. I think that is one. Why do you want to do it? Second thing that I feel is, again, coming back to why do you want to do it? Personally now, why do you want to do it? And I've seen these few reasons or patterns where people I've seen why they have done books. They have done, some people have written books to teach their teams. I run a team, for example, at Zebra Learn, we are about 55 people and about 50 freelancers. I want to teach, not teach, but share what I feel and how I think about certain things to my team. That is a very good reason to write a book. Because not just those 99 people, obviously that will impact the business very directly, but there is typically a set of people who are interested outside also. And that's a very good reason. You want to share what you have done if you are at a senior position to your junior folks. Someone in their career, not really someone you know of personally. That is a very good reason. Something that where you want to preserve your expertise. That is a very good reason. What is not a good reason? Money. You will not make enough. Books directly will not make enough. Maybe the ancillary benefits might make. Authority, I doubt authority can be a byproduct, but writing a book for authority is not a good thing. Third thing, and the third reason that we run away from is authors where it's a fantasy to write a book. Why? Because they're not writing it for the right reasons. The content will not be deep. They'll not be spending enough time. So I think that is a category where a large number of self-publishers have made their business. Because the readership is limited. The author is reading, maybe their friends, family, and maybe a set of people, and those things I understand. But coming back, for example, we did book with Ivy Growth, and here are the books. We did that book at that event. That event had very directly 21/72. That event had very directly both these people. Those who are looking to raise capital or startups. We covered one problem statement of them. Obviously, there can be multiple others. And angel investors or people who are wanting to invest but not really knowing where to start. And these two books directly, and we consciously kept it short because these people are not readers by profession or by choice. They're trying to solve a problem for themselves, and we thought these are the good ways to go about it. So that is where we feel that there is an impact. So if someone is writing, again coming back to your question, if someone is writing, write for impact, don't write for second-hand benefits. I use the word second-hand benefits because all these benefits that you see, मेरा शौक है, my family will feel good, my boss will feel good, my colleagues will feel good, all these are not great reasons. Preserving
knowledge has
to
be very outcome driven,
impact, and particularly in the space that we are in. Business books and non-fiction books. If you're writing fiction, that's a very different business altogether, and I am not the right person to kind of share that. वहाँ पे the metric becomes engagement more than outcome. I am very happy to write a very boring book if it's driving impact. I am not very happy writing a very boring fiction book because there is no impact there. That's being done. So these are some of the thoughts that we think about.
So Anurag, tell us one skill that every youth should read about, should learn about. What is that one skill that is utmost essential in every areas of your life?
Just hard skill wise, I'll suggest at this point one should really learn about AI. Because that is one thing, and AI ke pehle you'll have to learn the foundations of it as well. If someone is not coming from tech or all that. But I don't think it's a good excuse that I don't come from tech, so I will not learn about AI. I think right now one should really learn about it because it will impact almost every workflow. As I'm sure many of the businesses that you talk to will be telling. I see it in our space. Outside that, I think how to hire is something that one should. I think everything else is manageable. How do you hire good? I think a large part of what you'll do in life is all related to how you hire. And obviously hiring is the first part. After that, it's what's the experience, employee experience. Right. And that is more to do with how you all the human values and everything put together. But just the entry, how do you hire? How do you hire people who hold senior positions, junior positions? Will these people always be junior to you? Can there be someone who's much more senior to you? All those things, I think these are two skills that I would really push someone, because after that, money management and all those things are important. But see, I put little less weightage to it because I come from finance. So few things came little more intuitively,
Right.
or by education more than intuitively. In terms of skills, I think these are two things that if going back, I would want to put more emphasis or more eggs in these baskets of mine.
Right. And can you tell us few departments that have been very essential to build a 60 crore business? You know, from the outside, it might just seem like, you know, just marketing alone is important or just HR alone is important. But, you know, if you can give us a gist of what are the utmost important departments that you cannot afford to miss in your business?
I think let me just expand on this a bit. I think there are two businesses at businesses our stage and anything less, and probably businesses 4 times of ours. There are and there only should be two parts about thinking: the make part and the sell part. There should be divisions that are contributing in making of whatever you're selling or acquiring, if it's a marketplace or someone else is making, and the selling part. Everything else is overhead. These are the two that are adding value to your business.
Right.
So coming to the making part, for us it's publishing. For someone else it can be manufacturing, a factory, a license, an acquisition team. I don't know the fact, it depends business by business, but I think this is one thing that a founder really needs to understand well, because it's their core product.
Right.
You can't skip your product and think of building a business because ultimately at start, what do you have? You have a product or trying to build a product, if not a product. And product in our perspective, obviously tech products are far more sophisticated and so on. Outside that, the sell part, I think over there you will need obviously the marketing team. I think marketing team comes in very late in the business, or that is what our experience has been. Marketing comes in much after understanding or having a basic sense of something that's working, because that has to be done by founder.
Right.
That doesn't, you can't outsource that to your team or so on and so forth. Marketing happens for us, at least. We hired as we needed people. Okay, we need someone to manage Amazon for us. We needed someone to manage AMS. Then we needed for Facebook ads. I think I was doing Facebook. I was running Facebook ads personally till the time we were spending, I think, about 2 lakh rupees on Facebook, roughly that. After that, we hired someone with a lot of expertise or someone who has seen larger budgets. I will again put it marketing, HR, and by extension finance. These three help you run your business or scale your business put together. Tech is something that I find extremely, irrespective of all the investor interest and everything. I think one should definitely look at tech angle irrespective of their business is. Sometimes it can only be task management, even that it helps you scale up your activities just because of the less of the mental space that it's freeing you up. So I think that answer to that question is, I think tech is something even tech companies could, or products that are core tech, even they can use more of it to build levers that can be used to scale up your business with less resources. Initially, for example, for us, we spent about 1 crore rupees building our software and products, and we call something called a studio and the app and all those things. But I don't know how they'll do going forward. Right now they do well. I feel we could never scale after beyond a point of time if we had not invested, or if we don't keep on investing in this. And where will we hold our distribution? Where will we hold our users or readers? And what will they consume if not buy from us? It's not going to be have every day that someone is buying from you something. We are not in selling FMCG or those things. So outside transactions, what else can we do? That is where I think our tech plays a role. I think that is true with almost every business. I think one more department that every business should have. It can be a subset of marketing department, or this is something that we propose a lot, and obviously it's our vested interest. Every business, I feel, should have an education department, and these should be focused on 3 parts. Education for your customer. Education for your customer does not mean someone who is shocked with you. And that is why I said it can be a subset of your marketing team, where you are educating people who are trying to get into that space or transact, or not really transact, but just be there. And that is the large premise before content teams as well. Content is largely education, a lot of entertainment also in certain fields. So a lot of the advice, or what I'm saying, is biased towards us. I think one should really have an education team for customers, for their suppliers, or whatever is the back end of things, so that they get if and done with the right intentions of educating, everything else will follow. It helps us brand build and all those things. I think also for employees, the right set of culture, the right set of skills, the right kind of investments in the right people, so that your people you don't have to keep on replacing your people as your business grows. One thing that happens is, by the way, you'll have to replace a lot of your people who are doing very well, but you'll have to replace them just because the company grew or the business grew. Because someone who could manage 10 projects beautifully well now needs to manage 10 people. So that person's skill set is not really relevant. Now that person will be one of the managers, and there will be 5 or more managers that we'll find and hire, and will have to report to a senior management, and typically will not like. So these are some things that I think about departments. Again, I took multiple approaches, but I think education department is one thing that I feel is a lot of value there that a lot of people can explore and is underexplored.
Interesting. Tell us one marketing, how is marketing evolving in your business, and what is the best marketing tool that you think can capture your business?
Our business, I think there are two things in terms of marketing. I think one tool that really defines us is something called as CleverTap. CleverTap, so these are called remarketing frameworks or tools. There is CleverTap, there is MoEngage, there is WebEngage. These are the Indian ones, and obviously there are other channels. What essentially we are doing is we try to understand what every person is doing on our platform. What books, how many pages, what pages, how much time on what page, and accordingly we understand, okay, this person is this person is this, and understanding of that person, understanding of that reader allows us to create a profile of them, and then we are not talking to them something that's not relevant to them. We are trying to keep the conversation direct, but only to the people who are relevant. And I think those things, to control those or to understand, and particularly in a business like us where the TG is spread out. TG of every book keeps on changing. The end TG, the dynamic, the demographics can remain the same. But a real estate book will be read by someone much different as compared to, let's say, a financial modeling book. Or let's say something like as employee retention book. So for us, it's even more important to get those categories and subcategories together and understand. So I think the answer to that question is using a lot of CRMs and CDPs, customer relation management and customer data platforms, and don't use the word data as such, more of creating profiles of readers and then being relevant for them. It's like Facebook showing you some random reel. Facebook showing you reels on, let's say, something like, let's say, how to organize a football match. That's not relevant to you. But still, so what is Facebook doing? Why is it consuming so much? Because it's showing you something that you're interested in and keeps on doing that. I think that's essentially what we do as well with that tool. I think that is one, and obviously I think Google and Facebook, these are two very, very strong platforms that I don't need to tell more about.
Amazing. I think it's been a wonderful conversation. I think there's a lot of value add that I've personally learned, Anurag, and I'm sure the listeners, they're gonna get amazing value out of this. How to build a business, how to get on Shark Tank, to your journey overall, to the whole book industry business. I think it's been quite an insightful conversation, and would love to do a small rapid fire with you so that we get to know you more.
I'm excited.
So quick question: one book everyone should read before turning 25.
I think Business Model Generation is one thing that I really enjoyed, and second is, I think, taking that liberty of second, Poor Charlie's Almanac.
Amazing. One book you wish you had written?
Oh, one book I had written. That's not. I think if I had written Business Model Generation, I think. But obviously the kind of work those people have done, it's beyond fantastic.
Your go-to productivity hack?
I think a simple pen paper. Pen paper, and just write down everything that needs to be done. Don't keep anything in mind, and then try to put an order to it or write it in the order. And also just allowing yourself that liberty that if you forget a couple of things, it's okay.
Amazing. If you had to pitch a book at an event, which book would it be?
I will pitch Bookpreneur. We have written a book on how to write a book.
Oh, wow.
So
you really aim to create more authors.
More authors, and more than that, the right attitude towards book. A book should not be all those things that we hear about. A book is a visiting card and all those. Even that is fine, but it should be done. Still, it can be done for impact. So I think that is one large.
Amazing. Biggest misconception about publishing industry?
People prefer hard ebooks over hard copies. People prefer hard copies. Everyone is screen time sensitive, and it's not convenient to read ebooks.
If you woke up tomorrow with $10 million in your account, what's the first thing you would do?
I will spend probably $10 million. I will invest in Zebra Loan and make sure and first ask if any of my investors is looking for an exit, because that is something that's very important. And whatever is balance, large part of it will be, we'll just put it back in business and invest in growing the platform.
Amazing.
And also put a coffee machine in my office because our office does not have that good a coffee.
How long after the deal did the money actually hit in your account after the Shark Tank deal?
So for us, we are not the right judgment for that. We expanded the round. We got other co-investors like you and also others. So that just we took another 2 months to close additional money. So
So it would take typically 2 to 3 months.
From their
minimum.
process, they were ready with their end, all the due diligence, and January mid. We took another 3 months to that. So now the money has started coming into the business.
Amazing. Did you receive unexpected offers or opportunities after your episode?
We did
aired on
multiple
Shark Tank?
sites. And brokers did reach out to us because we create largely financial content that's relevant to them. A lot of broker, like almost every large broker in the country. Then investment is one part that happened. We did receive interest from outside, but by that time we had closed good capital that we wanted to, and probably will look for. Then outside that, I think we got a lot of good author applications really shot up. I think author applications is one large thing that shot up because it's a very direct, and I honestly believe that we are one of the best solutions out there for an author. We will ask them to work hard, and many authors will not be able to finish the book that they started. But we are one of the best solutions to create that really deep, impactful, impact-driving books, or however the words can be anything. But I think those are few things. Outside that, freelancers, employees, those things, we got a lot of applications, people wanting to work, and there were multiple job applications at that point. So I think that also really helped.
One last question. What's your favorite memory from Shark Tank?
My favorite memory from Shark Tank is when I was giving book to Aman. So obviously they will not show it on TV, but to his attitude, to his the impression that I have, Aman sir's, that fun-loving, and I also have that. Like that office will be all fun-loving, has to be. So I was giving him those books as samples, and his questions were, "Bhai, kaisi chal rahi hai? Chal rahi hai, cut rahi hai?" True to his language, and I had a laugh there. To my good at that point, I could stand ground. Sir, chal rahi hai, achhi chal rahi hai, aur daud rahi hai, which was true. So I think that was one small memory. Outside that, I think on a more serious note, I think they have wonderful writers. I understood the film business there. Not that any part of our script book anything is scripted there, but the first 2 minutes are the pitch. Not that it's scripted, but just that they allow us to make it more engaging and all those things. So I think they do a fantastic job over there. I think I had always heard the backbone of any good piece of content is the writer, and I saw that firsthand there. I think those are few things. Outside that, obviously, I think the highlight has to be getting the check and that picture. I think largely yes. And one more funny thing that happened. I don't know how many. I've never shared. Immediately before we were entering the tank, like they take you on that spot to show you the highlighters, like and to see if your setup is okay. So and then you come back and then you again walk in. So. Like immediately when we are coming back and we had to enter in next 2-3 minutes, Radhika hit her head on a side wooden thing, and she was all teared with her sweat, with her makeup and all, and so that I think she took a bit to recover from. But funny thing, makeup and medical came together, and makeup came before medical.
Oh my god!
So we both still laugh on that. But overall, outside that, these were some pointers that we recall, and we made some very good friends. I think friends that will probably stand the test of time again. Too soon to say that, but all of them are doing very good. I met Rohan from Tripol, amazing guy. Then there was Canvas, and then Panchal Dairy, so down to earth. It was amazing meeting them. We shot similar times, and then I met Medial. So these guys have so Niket there. He had sold a book business to Pratilipi, I think 2 years back. It was amazing to talk to him about all the experiences, and now they're building something in startups and community for that, something around that. So all these amazing guys and amazing founders who have done well or are building something that's much more or much different from what we are doing, and to learn from their experiences. Wonderful experience, I feel. And same was the experience on audition as well, not just this. Audition was short-lived. We were together for a day, half a day. Here we were all in same hotel, same bus for about 5 days.
Wow.
So,
Amazing.
yeah.
So one last question, Anurag. What's the vision you have for Zebra Learn?
Vision for Zebra Learn is very simple. We feel books will remain relevant. We want to have 100 million users on our platform and learn books with us. I think learn visually with us. It can be book, it can be even courses for that matter. I feel both have similar value propositions. Again, the consumption pattern is similar, different. But I think about 100 million users is something that we feel it's very much can be done in probably in next probably half a decade to a decade. And that is what we want to invest in ourselves and all the support that we find around us. And yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Anurag, for your time. It's been a pleasure conversing with you and looking forward to working with you. Thank you so much again.
Thank you, everyone. It's been amazing talking to you, and thank you so much.